Hi everybody. Today I'm going to do a few short videos with a very basic startup and strokes that we should all practice before we start painting on porcelain. We seldom take the time to learn and practice these first steps because we are so eager to paint a full subject. When we were kids and started school, we were taught how to write each letter, so it should be the same here. This is so important as it is the basis of all our strokes that we will use later on, and if we do not master these, we will have a problem with applying our colors properly. But first I will show you the brushes for this particular stroke and some of the brushes available to us and how to condition them for the very start to keep them for a long time. These are several types of the brushes that we use. I'll start with the round. This is the round. As you can see, the ferrule is round. It is thick at the base and it's pointed a little bit, but we can also, when apply a little bit of medium, you see how it becomes round. So this is called a Dresden pointer, which is the one we use the most in the European style. And it is also the most versatile one. It comes in all sizes. It comes in a little bit fatter and shorter. And it comes much shorter also. This is the one I use to paint small roses in the Dresden style. This one I use for larger roses, and this one much larger roses or leaves or any type of painting that you want to use in the European style. Then we have these little ones, and these two are the ones that I use and I'm going to use to show you the first strokes. Okay, they're a little bit pointier and round at the bottom. This one is a little bit the same, but a little bit shorter. So we will use these two to do the first strokes. It's much easier to see it in a smaller version. Then we have the liner. See, the liner is a little bit, it has the round ferrule, but very few hairs, and very long and pointy. This is used to do lines, to do fine lines and details, and used mostly for scrolling or to paint long continuous lines. And it's also available in many sizes too. Then I have this little short one that we use. That's the only brush that I have in the studio, in the atelier. We use it most of the time for details, for gold, for tiny little dots, for a lot of styles. Then I have also, we can use also the square shaders. You see, it's called square because it has that flat ferrule. And if you see it, it's square at the tip. These are they're used mostly in the American style of painting, but I also paint portraits with it. So there's two sizes here, a little bit smaller. So those are called square shaders. Then we have the stippler, also named deerfoot, which is chiseled. It has a chiseled tip. This comes in a variety of thickness and sizes, and it is mostly used to paint foliage. I use the small one here to do the foliage. When I soak it in color, I do little leaves when I do a landscape. just by clicking on it. It is used dry. You don't have, this is the only brush that I don't condition. I use it dry. If it gets dirty, I clean it only with alcohol and soap and water and just let it dry. I also use this brush when we do pearls or when we put two colors one next to the other and you want to soften that line. So this helps to soften the transition of one color to the other by tapping on the line. This one is called the mop. And mind you, this one is flat, but I have also the round and much fatter mop brush. This one I use mostly, I do not paint with this. It helps me to blend areas where there is a lot of paint, or to spread the dry paint over the medium for a grinding technique. I also use it when we do a scratching technique to clean up the dust that it forms. So these are basically the brushes that I often use and that you probably will see most of the time. In the second video, I will show you how to mix your powders properly and how to do the basic stroke, which I was talking about in the previous video, and which is the basis of all our strokes in the future. I will mix the blue for this particular subject for the basic stroke, which is called grain of wheat, or in French, grain de blé, a stroke you will find in many French 18th century decoration. I mix all my colors with mostly MX54, but any of your mediums will work in the same way. Use the medium that you are most comfortable with. You will need a vial of powdered color, a dropper, MX54 or your own medium, lavender oil, pure turpentine, a metal spatula, and a mixing tile and some clean tissues. Put a little bit of powder on your tile. Then with the dropper, put a few drops of MX54 next to it, not on top of it. Eventually, you will be able to judge how much mixing medium you will need. So I pick up a little bit of the oil and make sure you don't go puff on top of your powder, because then the powder will spread all over the place and you will just splatter and spoil the colors that you had mixed previously and are nearby, or lose some grains that will later get into your mixed color and will fire as a black spot on your piece. So once all the grains are wet, you can mix it more vigorously. So here we go. I wet the colors, the powder I mean. Okay, once I got all my powders, then I go and mix it. This is the consistency you want. You want to make it look that it looks a little bit dry when you spread it, and that it looks wet when you pick it up on your spatula. and keep on doing this. One of my teachers, my old teachers, told me to mix my colors 20 minutes. I never had the patience to do it, but I got the message. So I really, really mix my colors thoroughly. This is the right consistency before you add a little bit of lavender to it. Okay. A drop of it. The addition of the lavender or the clove oil will permit the color to stay open longer. And will give you a chance to correct it. On another video, I will show you how to liquefy your mixture a little bit more for pantsing your background with a sponge. So here we go. I'm going to pick up the rest that was there. And I'm going to clean this to show you. The drop, the stroke, I mean. Put a little bit here. When you condition your brush, and when your condition brush, the small pointer, these are the two that I selected, you pick up the color from left to right. You don't go poof on it. You just go, you soak all the hairs of your brush into the color, but from sideways. And then you turn it around and you end up with a point. This is your brush conditioned and full of color to do that famous stroke. So here we go. You deposit the color flat and you go down. As you go down, you raise your finger, your hand up, 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 up into a point. There you have. It's fat on top and pointing at the bottom. Don't go too fast. Just do that stroke over and over again. You have to practice lines of it to get it. So again, flat, go down, oops, go down, oops, I'm shaking. And up, there you go. Go down. As you go down, raise your hand. Go down, raise, 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 into a point, okay? Repeat this movement several times and watch your wrist. It is the wrist movement that is doing this. It is like flamenco hand gesture or ballet dancer. Your wrist should be making a graceful gesture by doing the stroke. Paint one stroke next to the other without charging your color. So that will give you a variety of color. Go down, 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 up, oops, up. I need more practice. Okay, fill the color again. Finishing a point. Go down, up and up. Go down, up and up. Okay, practice this stroke and do lines of it until you get it and perfect it. Okay, these are some once you have mastered that stroke, you should be able to paint 3 of them together or 5 of them to form a beautiful decoration that is a favorite of mine and has been used for centuries. Of course, these are done with tiny little brushes, but it's the same stroke. Here I show you a sample of it. Here is tiny stroke, but it's the same stroke that we're using, and the same on the leaf. It's the same stroke, up and down, fat at the top and tiny at the fat at the top, tiny pointy at the bottom. Okay, so you can do this decorations and you can do this decoration. Okay, all these are done with the same stroke. All this little gold decoration is done with the same. Okay, here's another example. It's the same thing. So it makes for nice little gifts and nice little decorations. And it's all in one stroke, just 3 colors, the purple, the blue, and the green. The same stroke is used, as you can see, to paint leaves, and that I will be demonstrating on the next video. So practice this, please, a long time. Thank you.